This is Dr. Y. Srinivas Rao, Dean Academics and R&D, Sardar Patel Institute of Technology, Founder Director, Go Green Technologies Private Limited. In the previous sessions, we have discussed about some do's and don'ts while writing technical papers, articles, or thesis. In the second session, we also discussed about how to prepare a presentations, particularly about the contents on the slides and your communication and demonstration. In this session, we will discuss about what goes inside the paper's technical documents. Since it's a contributions, your research contributions, and you wish to publish in a standard journals, standard publishers, or maybe some good universities like in UGC we have Sodh Ganga is a Government of India initiative where your technical documents are published on their portals. So every organization have some expectations, and particularly the readers, they are paying, some publishers are selling your documents and they are paying dollars, 30 $35 to read your paper, to download your paper. So naturally it is expected no dissatisfaction after paying, after downloading your paper. What you have promised in your title, what you have promised in your abstract has to be there in the rest of your paper. Because the readers are paying before reading the paper. Most of the editors, publishers, reviewers accept your papers for reviewing based on your title and your abstract. They don't even read it before it goes for review process. That itself is a painful work. At least the reviewers has to go through your complete paper for few weeks and will give valid comments. So it's important that while organizing your paper or while reviewing your reports, your thesis by examiners, make sure you have properly demonstrated your work through your writings, because nobody is going to see physically your work. You will be elaborating your contributions through text, through publish media. So there are some standards are there. Let's discuss about at least the common practices. Generally, when you prepare any paper or any report writing, the structure is as follows. Every proposal has some introduction, some theory about the your problem statement which you have stated in the introduction, and the method we have adopted to demonstrate, to prove your hypothesis, and the gaps which exist currently, and the analysis interpretations of your work, and there has to be some discussion about your results and comparison with already published work. and conclude your work. So people give weightage to abstract and conclusion because it is you have a very limited scope. By reading abstract and conclusion, one should be able to judge your contributions. The abstract is very short paragraph, around 200 words paragraph, mini version of your paper. Like I said, people are paying $35 by reading the abstract, which is a mini version of your 6 pages or 8 pages of paper, or maybe your thesis, the, the abstract part. Sometimes in your interviews also, nobody is going to read your entire paper or thesis. They ask you abstract of your research, abstract of your work. So it's a mini version of your contributions in a 200 words, 250 words. So the sentences which are used is simple past, refer to your work done, and it consists of the objectives of your research work, which methods you have used, what are the in principle, what are the results you have got, and if you have drawn right some conclusions. Briefly in 200 words, you should cover all these four. Introduction could be slightly bigger in nature, maybe 500 to 1000 words. It's about rationale of your domain, and present refers to the established knowledge in the literature. It's about the scope of your problem, and you might have referred some literature. It's about that your own understanding about already published literature, that's called review. So you should be able to criticize the published work and then come up with your own hypothesis about the area which you have chosen. It could be futuristic hypothesis. What could be the outcome of your research in that form? And the approach, justification of your approach. These are the some guidelines of writing the introduction and the literature review. After that, your the next section is about the methods which you have used. I'm sure there may be multiple methods for every problem. It could be you can describe in 500 to 1000 words. It describes about what was done and what you have would like to experiment. Simple past refers to your work done. And it's about the description of the procedure in a logical order because you are talking about the methods and sufficient details so that maybe the it should be helpful for the researchers, other researchers, by going through your material methods where they will be able to implement also those techniques and your own proposed method, because I'm sure every researcher will have added some knowledge to the existing work, the delta T contribution. So that has to be detailed explanation has to be there. After that, the next section is the results. It's all about the analysis, the present data, the facts, what was found, what you have found, what you have calculated, discovered, observed. Those are the things which should come in the result or analysis section. Use simple past sentences, refer to what was found, observed. So it's all about your results, your observations, your experimentation results, your field work. Compare, contrast between the experiments, results of calculations by using some data, plots, and so on. It's all about your experimental work. The discussion is all about evaluation. You have to evaluate. Again, it could be around 1,000 words. You have to show the relationship among the facts, put the results in the context of your previous published work. That's what you have to compare in the discussion. So, present tense, emphasis on established knowledge, presented results. So, it's all about the trends, relations, and you also should show some generalization of your work and maybe how your results are agree, disagree with previous studies. That's all about the discussion. It's a very important section and it takes a lot of time to write abstract and discussion because it's all about your work. Finally, draw the conclusion. Is again a small paragraph around 200 words. Summarize your findings, present tense, emphasize on what should be now be accepted as established knowledge. So conclusion should relate back to the introduction, the hypothesis, summary of evidences, supporting each conclusion. But then everything is in brief because your conclusion cannot be a chapter or a section, big section. It is again a few words. And the implications and significance of your results may be the in terms of practical applications. And then the title. Why I have mentioned the title at the end is because see title is something, it could be 8 to 15 words and it draws the attention of the readers. It conveys before I pay for the paper. The title should convey that the area which I am looking for is of the same title. So it's better you reframe your title after writing your conclusions that this is the appropriate title for my research and my contributions. So I hope every proposal, every title, every paper, every thesis consists of these sections and the limitations while writing particularly technical papers. I will quickly show you my paper which I published during my research at IIT Bombay in electronic systems in IEEE transactions, industrial electronics. So if you look at the journal paper, transaction paper, even there is a slight difference between even if all of them are IEEE publications, but still there is a difference between a conference, journal, and transactions. Maybe in the next session, I will show you the format of conference, an article, a conference, a journal, and a transaction, where it differs. Very slight differences are there in terms of formatting. So, like I said, there has to be a small paragraph of abstract. As you can see, begin with title and the author. But however, in transaction, you see author affiliation is on the front page, first page, left bottom is the affiliation. However, in conferences, it will be very next to the author itself. So there are some differences are there. Even beginning of a journal, beginning of a transaction, you can see the first word is different in a transactions, right? You can see load emulation. This is all capital letters with L with a bigger letter. Font is bigger in size. And there will be some index terms in a transactions. Index terms means keywords which may describe about the area of your work in few words. Like I said, your abstract talks about the significance of your work and your own contributions, your own conclusions, your own results, outcomes in a small paragraph. Then write a introduction. However, you can see in abstract, nowhere we have done the citation, no references. It's all about your work. However, in the rest of the sections, you can have some references called citation. As I said, citation means your end of your paper. You might have referred some already published work in the same order of the references, like first reference should be referred first, then second, then third. Similarly, if you see the introduction section, we also in the same order we are referred. You don't need to explicitly say that so and so reference like that. If you say that in a square bracket, that itself indicates that you are referred that particular reference with respect to this text. If you have more than one reference, then put a comma, there is a space before and after. You can have at the beginning of the sentence also, you can have at the end of the sentence also. If you have more than one reference, no need to type all the references. You can say so and so number to so and so with a hyphen. So the references are always in square bracket. If you have abbreviations, they are not in square bracket. You can see they are normal brackets. Every figure, if you can see every figure, fig dot, as I explained in first session in do's and don'ts, there is a space and the caption is there, exactly some space between your figure and the caption. There is a standard and they are numbered. Fig, not figure. So again, there is a difference in conferences and journals and transactions. How to spell the fig or figure, there is a slight difference. The figures should be referred in the text. Like you see here, fig.1 depicts. But the advantage of using latex is you don't need to give the numbers, either in the text where you are referring or in the caption where you are writing the caption. The numbers are automatically assigned at both the places in the text as well as caption is done by using that scripting language called latex. So as you keep on adding the figures, the numbers will be automatically changed on its own. You can see within the text also you can have the symbols, math symbols with Roman. That's the advantage of using latex. You don't need to drag and drop some images. They're all printable characters. Even the figures you see. Maybe some other session I will explain about what tools we have used to draw the figures so that even the plots, the legends also will have some math symbols. Suffix, prefix, these are all can be nicely done in latex. I was telling about the units, clearly indicate the units, x-axis, y-axis. Figures may have subsections like figure 1, figure 2, because you are referring somewhere in the text. Every equation has number, you can see, and they are referred in the text. Here you see the equation number. Every equation, every figure, every table, every reference should be referred in the text. It's not a choice. You have to refer. It's a mandatory. The advantage of latex is you see I have extensively used the mathematical equations. So it's very easy to use mathematics in latex as compared to Microsoft Word. Look at the plots. Maintain the aspect ratio so that right the x-axis and y-axis the shape is not changed. Have a meaningful legends. Look at the opening quotes and closing quotes. It's not same, it's different. So use the tilde for opening quotes. When you are using some symbols, math symbols, be consistent in the entire paper. If you say omega, entire paper omega term should be same. As I was telling, like if you look at the organization, right, we started with the introduction and then the principle, the design, some methods, the experimentation results, you can see in a tabular form, your plots, they are the evidences. Nobody trust just in a verbose form. Figure should speak, particularly experimental results. Photographs, try to have more photographs. They are the evidence of your results rather than just simulations. And then analysis at the end should analyze your work. So in the conclusions also, no references, no citation, no equations, no tables, no plots, no figures. It's a textual. However, again it speaks about your contributions in a precise manner, but it also talks about some futuristic hypothetical statements about what could be the applications or what could be the improvements. If you have any valid results, you can also mention some numbers, your key outcomes in the conclusions. References are not a choice. There are particularly electronics, computer, IT, these domains. We generally follow IEEE standards, how to refer, how to cite the references, how to start a reference, how to end a reference. There is a style, maybe for management courses, maybe some science courses. Slight differences may be there, not drastic differences. Please note in any reference, started with the authors by a comma, separated by a comma, last author with and, comma, then open quotes, title of your the paper which you are referred, comma, end of the quotes, the publisher or the conference, comma, but in italic form. If you see, the publisher is in italic form. Then the volume number and subvolumes, page number, month and year of publication. So there is a standard. End of your paper, conference people doesn't disclose the authors, but journals and transactions, they ask the author's slide profile, a small paragraph with photograph. You can introduce yourself about your profile. So if you refer the IEEE documentation style about the references and their citation, there are three main parts. First is, like I said, author's name. After that, title of the article, then the publisher, title of the journal. The purpose of giving the references in the thesis or the paper is you have referred them, you have done the comparison, analysis, criticism in the paper. So definitely you should cite. Just mentioning the references doesn't have any meaning. You should have every single reference should be cited in the text, like I have demonstrated with a square brackets. And if it is more than one reference, then have some comma or a hyphen. But however, the reference order should be same. The first reference should be referred first in the same order. Each reference number should be enclosed in a square bracket on the same line as the text before any punctuation with space before the bracket. As you can see, at the end of the sentence, there is a square bracket, reference number, full stop, or maybe if you have any some numbers, again space, the reference number, or maybe as a part of the text, so and so author has argued, then you mention the reference. You can also say refer, for example, C, that's all, the reference number. Several research studies, then you can give a list of the references have suggested with a open square bracket, close square bracket, separated by a comma. You don't need to exclusively say that in reference number so and so. You don't need to say that in reference. It itself is understood the moment if you say square bracket, it is that reference which you are referring. So you can have a either separated by a comma, or you can have every reference has a opening and closing square bracket separated by a comma, or you can also have a hyphen if you have more than one reference. However, if you are referring the references from e-books, electronic documents, then you need to specify that it's an e-book you have accessed in which year, because see, these online articles, sometimes the publisher may remove it. Then it should not violate that you have referred a wrong reference. So and so time it was there, so they say accessed and so year. In, maybe later on they may remove also, and where it is available, preferably URL, because it's an online reference. So all electronic documents should have a URL, when it is available, you have access to which year with a date, and if possible, the same, the order I said, author, the title, the publisher in Roman, volume number, page number, year. This is same. But also it should have the URL when you have accessed. So all public domain internet documents should clearly mention if it is online, say online, or with that URL when you have accessed them. If it is an email, say email, and so on. If it is a from software, then you mention it belongs to which company. If it is a book, then mention the publisher, the year of publishing. If it is a data sheet, say it is a data sheet. If it's a government publication, say which office that article belongs to. Particularly, we refer the conferences and journals. So we need to mention volume number, year of publication, page number. They has to be mentioned along with your author, title, and the publisher. So this format I have mentioned, but remember, based on if it is an online article or a data sheet or a book or a website, there is a slight difference and referring the references, citing the references. So follow these standards. Being a electronics, computer, IT, telecommunication, all engineering disciplines we follow IEEE standard of referring the references, and mostly people accept that, most of the conferences and publishers. That's all as if now in this session. In the next session, we will discuss about the tools, which tools are helpful while writing these documents, so that you don't need to give the square brackets or the numbers. Right, the I told you about the citing the references and so on. This all automatically done if you use some tools called latex, because it's a scripting language. And when you go for publication of a journal, they also ask multiple files. Then it's very difficult if you use a Microsoft Word to generate multiple files. 10, 12 files they will ask, like EPS file, PDF file, text file, figure separately, plot separately, and so on. So if you use latex, latex has the advantage of creating multiple files. So we will see next session is all about how to document, how to convert into PDF or EPS files, PostScript file.